Right. Oh, yeah. I will record. There we go. Hmm. Yeah, cool. Come on. What the fuck? There we go. I have my chat up. Tonight's stream title comes from, well, part of it at least, from Andy Luke. Because I like pinching things off of people because I'm lazy as fuck. Whoa. Holy Yay! I have comrades. Thank you for the 19 months. What the actual fuck, Jim? Hi, Emily. Oh, God, why am I seeing him? Oh, that's delightful. Thank you, Boy George. Delightful individual. What the hell? They've lost the sauce. Oh, they're down to 18%. Haha, get wrecked, man frog. I can't believe that. Why won't the Tories fucking die? Ugh. So the first part of the stream title, yay! Couple of Burks. Hello, a couple of Burks. Who else have we gotten? You indeed. I can't believe you've subscribed to me for 19 months, Jim. What the fuck? It's mental. I think you you and Scribby are the, or maybe Sozzled actually. Let me think of it. Mm. Oh yeah. Right, because I was watching Babylon 5 earlier on, I missed this section of the stream. And rejoice, we've got Brummy Comrade and we had Brummy Comrade in tonight's turn left. Praise be Brummy Comrade. Everyone go and follow Kev. Omaha, I am back. Not sore as much now, thank God for that. It's still swollen as fuck though. Praise be comrades. Omaha, the can't dancer. Sorry I've been missing in action, everyone. But yeah, ankle and knee been causing issues. I'm at the behest of this failing body, essentially. I try to stream as much as possible, as you know. But yeah, if my body's not in it, especially if I'm in pain or in agony most of the time, it'd be no fun for anyone involved. Seeing me kind of break down and kind of cry at times. It sucks. It does suck. Not that Pat McFadden gives a fuck about my pain. I do not trust that Glaswegian ghoul. He still wants to throw people like me into the wood chipper. Luckily enough, my personal benefit, Scotland. And it'd be 10 times worse with those bastards in charge. Christ knows who they'd put in fucking Caxton House. Legend, the channel, has it on Freeview. We get it at 7 p.m. each night. And my favourite character has now turned up. For those of you who are interested, it is Marcus. And now we've got White Star. That means the shadows are coming. Well, they've already arrived, really. Shall we watch this? Then we'll get on to watching the National interview Corbyn, which is the main reason for me doing the stream tonight, essentially, which is going to be good. It's the best part of 50 minutes, so that will probably be, I don't know, an hour and a half of the stream taken up there. But yes, let's do this.
It's the trends that matter, with the number of polls having Reform in second place, despite dominating this year. Opinion research has this: Labour with 27% and Reform not far behind with 25%. Ipsos Mori, they've got this: Labour with 28%, Reform second with 25%, and not much change with the other parties. Now, according to Election Maps UK, in a poll of polls they conducted, Reform are in second place. Labour are ahead with 25.6%, Reform second with 24.3%, the Tories 19.6%, Greens 11.3%, Lib Dems 10.7%, and Restore with 2.9%. And what's interesting is that Labour's support in this poll is an 18...
Fucking hell. Dry throat. Ah, much better. Oh, frog in my throat. They won't die. Fuck it, I'll just round it up to make it easier on myself. Restore on 3%. Who are these lunatics in our midst? God, Rupert Lowe. Did you see that video he done basically begging to Nigel? Ugh. Getting desperate, are we, Rupert?
Month high. Reform with a 19-month low. For the Greens, 11.3 is a 10-month low, and the Lib Dems with a post-general election low. Now, Andy Burnham is still in...
Oh, stay hydrated. Self-care is good care. Take your meds if you need to take any. Stay based. Free Palestine. And keep an eye on auditors. Yes, please hit like, everyone, on the YouTube. And subscribe if you can. It's going to be an it's going to be an uphill struggle for me to get monetized on the YouTube. Like, turn left is, see, look, perks. It is 99 pence to become a member on turn left. It is well worth it. The same price for Brummy Comrade, Kevin Logan, and the same for Helena, No Justice MTG. They're all based, obviously. I will do this here. Come on. I have made it easier for myself. Is Helena? Add news. Oh, no. Shout out. Ta-da! Oh, damn. Not quite got her back on Twitch yet. So basically, no justice on the YouTubes. Carry on, Curtis.
Enjoying the Burnham Banks, as he is way ahead in personal party leader ratings. 50% of the public view Burnham favourably, with 31% disliking him, a net 19% positive. That rarely happens. Kemi Badenoch, 14% net negative, -8 for Ed Davey, 24% view Farage favourably, and 65% dislike him, meaning he is -41% with the public. Zach has a -31% rating. Although, interestingly, at the second part of the graphic, the Greens are the most popular party. 33% of the public like them, against 42% dislike. 30% of the public favours Labour, 27% for the Lib Dems, 26% for Reform, and the Tories, the least popular, with with 24%. However, Reform are disliked the most by a wide margin. 62% of the public do not approve. The party is seen overall as the most negative, with its leader Farage the most unpopular leader. But up until now, they were consistently polling number one. Politics is strange. Kevin, how significant do you think this polling is? I mean, have Reform thrown away their chances of winning the next election?
I would take this individual poll, especially because it's Ashcroft polling, which is imperfect, shall we say. There's a certain...
Imperfect? That's an understatement, in my opinion, really. How this actually works, at least in my estimation, is because he's got a loyal base, and it's mostly fucking immigration-obsessed boomers. The ones who actually demonize people like me. Not because I'm a communist or anything, but because I'm disabled and I'm not contributing to society, essentially, as some of them see. Thanks. You judge a country by how well it protects its marginalized and disabled and people like that, people like me, minorities, essentially, and marginalized. That's how I judge society, how well we protect the vulnerable in the country. Like Scotland's a lot better for that, in at least because I'm biased, obviously, Scottish. And the SNP actually treat us like humans. So do the Scottish Greens, obviously, as well. And now I am quite happy. Bye, Anna, you fucking dickhead. So I would literally want to get rid of the Lords just to make that bastard fucking cry. Ha ha ha.
Conservative bias. I think they overestimate the Conservative vote very regularly. But the point is, it's one poll. So let's not take that particular snapshot in its entirety, right? You look at the poll of polls, which does show that the Reform vote has dropped down significantly over the last sort of 18
Correct,
months,
Omaha.
and Labour have received a big bounce. I think the big story that people should take out of this is not so much that Reform are in second place, which they are definitely now. They're not actually in third. They're in second place overall by a relatively narrow margin to Burnham, is that what the left has been saying for ages, which was ignored under the previous Labour leader and previous Prime Minister, was that the Greens had taken their votes off them. And the fact that a more progressive, at least sort of more progressive, sounding more progressive, Labour leader has come into power has seen a significant bounce in the Labour vote and a precipitant drop-off from the Green Party, because that's where the votes were going to. Stop trying to placate far-rightists who will never, ever, ever vote for you. That is the big message that should be taken out of this from the Labour Party. Whether they will or not, we'll wait and see. But the point is, the Reform Party are definitely dropping in the polls. I think taking...
Yeah, he was on Turn Left today. On Normal Island. We've got Brommy Comrade back. Fucking amazing. And on Turn Left. Rejoice. We have John the Brazen. Hi, John. I return. Sorry, my ankle and knee have been causing me a lot of issues over the last couple of days. That's why I've not been here. Sorry, everyone. I'm feeling a lot better now, though. My knee and my ankle are still fucking huge, but the pain's not as bad. So at least that's something. Honorond. Hello.
On a significant number of former Conservative members of the government was a mistake. A lot of people who saw them as an insurgent, anti-establishment party can't realistically turn around and still think of them that way, because they have Robert Jenrick, the immigration minister, who opened the hated migrant hotels, and people like... I've forgotten her bloody name. Patel.
Wrong. She's still in the party. She's still in the Tories. You are talking about Cruella, Kev. Cruella Braverman, who is a monster. No, like some of the most horrible are still in the Tory party, like Helen Watt. Shadow cabinet, everyone. So obviously we've still got Kemi, she's still Tory leader. Priti Patel is Shadow Foreign, I believe. Oh no, right. Mel's right. Chris Philp. Laura Trott. Rebecca Harris. Oh, she's still Chief Whip. I think they might have changed her. Yeah, James Cartledge is still there. So's Victoria Atkins. So's Claire Coutinho. Helen Watley is still Shadow DWP. Andrew Griffiths, still Business and Trade. I'm not sure. Kevin Hollingbeck is still there. Oh, sweet. Rejoice, comrades. We have Dan Abulaith. Hello, Dan. There at the other end of the M8. How goes things in the East Coast? Things are going swimmingly over. Things are going swimmingly over here in the West, mostly.
That undermines the concept of them being, an anti-establishment party. And after just 30 years of giving them the oxygen of publicity and positive press coverage, finally the press and the establishment have done their job and are actually tackling Farage in the proper way. Firstly, they are denying him the oxygen of publicity that he requires. He did this whole by-election stunt because he wanted the publicity. And the establishment went, no, we're not playing your game. We're not going to run. Even the Restore Party didn't want to run against him. And so essentially he has been in the wilderness, completely, the people have not seen him or heard from him really in a long time, and he's been arguing with a bin in Essex. That's not where he needs to be. He needs, like Trump, to have the oxygen of publicity. He needs to be the story. And you can tell he's not the story because most people probably aren't aware that both he and Zia Yusuf held a press conference today about how they're going to keep prisoners in jail, and they've got this El Salvador plan where they're going to send criminals to El Salvador or something, and no one watched it and no one cared. It made absolutely no impact. They've become irrelevant in that respect. So finally, they've starved him of the oxygen of publicity. But what publicity they have given him has actually attacked in ways that can be effective. Because you can't just call him a racist. He is a racist. It's obvious he's a racist. His people don't care. In fact, actually, they do care. It's a plus for them because they are largely also racists, or at least okay with racists and racism. What you actually have to attack him on is the fact that he's taking millions of pounds of dodgy money from oligarchs. Because again, you can't plausibly sell yourself as anti-establishment when you are literally as corrupt as the establishment and you've got the establishment in your party. So ultimately, that's what you're going to see now.
By the way, that's still getting investigated by the Parliamentary Standards Authority. Yes, your little stunt hasn't worked, Nigel. Just saying. And yeah, people were not bothering. Like obviously they've done Vox Pops in Clacton and speaking to people, and like there are some people saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to vote for Binface," which is delightfully insane. A man wearing a bin and a large cape. He's got canvassers out now as well, which is mental. Your lass will be covering it, by the way, on Thursday night. Now, if it's a high turnout, Binface might win. But if it's a low turnout, like, I will be surprised if the turnout is 30%. Seriously. If it's anything, I'm thinking it's probably going to be between 15 and 20% turnout, which will probably be better for the joke candidate. Guess who I'm alluding to there? Your little stunt there is not going to work, Nigel.
Is the precipitant decline, I think, of the Reform Party. I don't think it's necessarily the case that they've completely sold their opportunity to become the next government, but I think it's unlikely now, or basically impossible, that they'll get a majority and would have to form some sort of coalition government.
Yeah, I don't understand why they're canvassing as well. It's mental. Leafleting, yeah, I get it. No, like with the Electoral Commission, you get one shot. They pay for one shot over the ground, essentially, for each. Like, I've no idea if any of the others like to take out those two, essentially, Manfrog and Binface. The other 32 candidates, I'm not entirely sure if they're going to be doing getting their one shot in the constituency with whatever leaflets they might produce. Like, and there's a good few. Oh, mind you, in saying that, Monster Raving Loonies might take advantage of that and get their leaflets out because they have policies. Most of them are silly, don't get me wrong. But yeah, over the years, some of their policies has been adopted by either the Tories or Labour back in the day. Like all-day licensing. That was one of theirs. So over the years, your main parties essentially have taken on to be popular essentially because they did look good. Oh, you're fucking kidding me. Japan, what are you doing? Please.
And also, I think Farage is hole below the waterline, and he probably has to go to allow that to happen.
I mean, I just searched up when the last time Reform got 30% in the poll. And it was more in Common, was on the 30th of March. They were on 30%, the Conservatives were on 21%, Labour on 19%. Opinion, because that's one of the polls we've cited, the last time Reform were on 30% was February. And then Ipsos, again, another poll that we've cited in this, was January. So it's been around 6 months, 4 to 6 months, maybe longer now, since they've actually reached 30%. Where do you, and that's this predates all the £5 million bung stuff, right?
Yeah.
It has to be more than just the Conservative or ex-Conservative MP swinging over, though. There must have been, I mean, in your view, there must have been other reasons, right? Or
I mean, yeah, Nigel Farage has tried in some ways to soften his messaging. You wouldn't necessarily know it from the outside, but right wingers do look for this sort of thing. He has softened his message to a certain extent. He's also, bizarrely, rolled back some of the more progressive sounding things. So former Labour voters who wanted tougher rules on immigration, but also kind of wanted government spending. Well, he's rolled back on all of those government spending plans. Even the lies he was telling to his voters about how he was going to invest in their local communities have gone away. And so the ex-Labour voter who would hold their nose and vote for reform goes away. Also, you've seen a significant bounce for the Labour Party, which again, even though the Reform Party have slipped down a little bit, the reason that Labour are ahead of them is because of that increase, right? Which again comes from...
Oh, no problem, Rosie. Rejoice, comrades. Wake up and smell the rosemary. Hi, Rosie. I tend to agree with Kev. He is kind of hulled below the waterline. Gotta love those naval terminology there. But yeah, obviously they've got Jenrick now, and the ambition in that man knows no bounds. Now, if the things don't go their way, I could actually see Jenrick becoming the head of the party. You can call it a party if you want. Yeah. I am loath to do so, essentially, because I don't. They're all. I don't care what fucking party they called. They're all fucking Thatcherite bastards. We will not vote. Don't get me wrong. We've got Reform in fucking Holyrood now. I'd love to see who actually voted for them, for crying out loud. They're all list, by the way. They all like they ran in all 73 of the constituencies up here. Didn't win any of them. Came damn close in a few, but they were mostly northeast, like up in the Aberdeenshire area. I wonder why. But yeah. So all of the Reform ones, and they're all former Tories, by the way. So the Tories are at the back of the chamber, looking forward, seeing all their former colleagues and who defected to Reform. It's funny. Yeah. Mostly, some of them used to be Tory councillors, and they gave up their being a councillor to run for Reform to get into Holyrood. But they all got on the list. Because who in their right mind would vote for them as constituency MSPs? To a certain extent, I'm quite happy about that. Don't get me wrong, I don't want them in Holyrood. They're fucking imperialist bastards. They're unionists at the end of the day. And your lass is an independent supporter. I don't want any of them in the fucking chamber. I don't. So this will hopefully hit them where it hurts up here as well.
Again, there's an almost exact mirroring of the drop in Green Party vote and the rise in the Labour Party vote, because progressives have decided, okay, maybe this guy's worth a shot. He's sounding more progressive. He's coming up with some economically more progressive.
Mark my words, because they don't want to risk it because of the polls, even for most of this year, essentially. If you were to call a general election, there's every possibility that Reform will get in because of our electoral system. First past the post is fucking garbage. I want rid of it. Or at least give me my independence, please, because fuck off, fucking hell. I do not like right-wingers. Their policies are just not good. Yeah, it's colonialist. Thank you, Omaha.
sounding things, maybe we'll give him a shot. And literally anyone's better than the previous bloke, whatever his name was. Can anyone remember?
Okay, so obviously you're saying here there's a mirror image of the Greens dropping, Labour going up, right? Obviously we all did say if Labour moved...
Remember, at the end of the day, Burnham is a fucking Blairite, or a Brownite if you wish. I'm not saying Brownian because that's a scientific term, but he's basically a Brownite or a Blairite if you wish. And he campaigned for Better Together. So as far as I'm concerned, he can fuck right off. But we will see. That's why some people have went back to Labour. Oh, he might actually be better than Sir Kid Starver. I am doubtful. At the end of the day, just doubtful. We will see, though. We will see. And obviously, I'm sitting up here screaming, "Gear's fucking energy policy, burn them, you bastard." They're not going to do that, I don't think. So I will carry on screaming into the void, wanting energy policy devolved up to Holyrood. And for the love of God, leave Jackdaw and Rosebank where the fuck they are. We do not need them. They're dwindling basins, they're mature basins, and it's going to cost a fuck ton to extract it. And it will go in the global market. You might get some tax take off of it at the end of the day, but it's not worth it in my opinion, essentially. It's not. Just leave them where they are, do on and offshore, and do fucking tidal. Can you see Blair equals Thatcher, right? Totally, Omaha. Totally. She did call him her greatest achievement, being able to move the Labour Party to the right. Thanks, Maggie, you fucking demon. I'm glad you're dead.
To the left or try and court left-wing voters. I mean, at least they should try to do that. And obviously, it's for now been successful. Yeah. I question the long-term project of this, especially on Gaza, right? Because the biggest reason why people left Labour.
Boom. There we go. Oh, ad in 3 minutes for everyone on Twitch. Let's bring up my YouTube so I can see everyone in that chat. My channel. Boom. Ad in 3 minutes for everyone. Oh, that's weird hearing my own voice. Right. Back we go.
To the Greens was Gaza. So I think that's going to be a problem for them. Yeah. But under Keir Starmer, and I know they were outliers, but some polls had the Greens on 18%, 21%. Again, they were more closely, I think, to 15, 16%, maybe 15%.
Yes, yeah. Oh. I would have preferred it to have been Monica, but it's basically a straight fight between Joe Fagan and fucking Michael Mara. And I'll add this as well. He wrote their manifesto and returned the least amount of fucking Labour back. Now that Annas has left them in the lurch and went down to the other place. I am glad Annas is out of the chamber, don't get me wrong. But yeah, going down to the unelected, undemocratic other chamber. Yeah. Annas, you fucking hypocrite.
Do you think now with Burnham that the Green Party's strategy has changed and actually it's now that their role is to push Labour to the left instead of outright replacing them, as the plan was when Keir Starmer was PM? Because that was what they were saying, right? We're here to replace Labour. And polling was showing that that could happen. Yeah. Now Burnham's Prime Minister, polling shows that can't happen. Do you think the Greens have to maybe temper their expectations a little bit, or do you think they should be just as...
Oh, I didn't know that Unison nominated her. Huh. The backlash might be cracked. Unison's still the largest union, isn't it, Dan? I think so. Like the amount of members in Unison is fucking huge.
I don't know,
Thank
bold and confident as before.
I think they need to be more bold. I know that might sound a slightly strange thing, given that they, like you say, they're at a 10-month low in terms of their share vote, but the popular vote share. But you need to be more bold, because essentially, I don't see it as an either-or situation. You do have to try and pull them to the left as far as you can.
Yes, Anna's feeling upwards yet again. Who'd have thunk it? The only reason we fucking got him is because of his dad, essentially. Nepotism, alive and well. But yeah, it's going to be, I believe it's going to be Michael Mara, which is fucking hell. Jackie gave up, which was a turn up for the books. I thought she would have run. Like, she's literally been in that chamber since it fucking got started. And she's tried on four different occasions. 3 different occasions? 4. So she's given up. Oh, Jackie, do you feel left behind? Are you feeling upset? But yet, thanks, Dumbarton, by the way. Fucking hell.
Because regardless of if anything ever happens, whether he ever becomes an MP, whether the Green Party ever become a major parliamentary force, Zach Polanski has had a positive net impact on British politics. The reason that Andy Burnham is Prime Minister is because of Zach Polanski.
I'll see it. Ian is feeling upwards yet again. I can actually see it because my stream. They can try and clip me out if you want. God, I hate Annis. I hate him so much. Like him leaving Holyrood. I'm happy about that, but the fact that he's going down to be into the Lords, and he's going to be business. He's going to go into business and trade. Is that Kyle? No, it's not Kyle. I can't remember who he made business and trade secretary.
Reason that the Labour Party are coming out and sounding vaguely like a Labour Party should, in terms of like cost of living crisis, and even on things like Gaza, where although the policy hasn't really changed, at least the messaging has changed. At least he's prepared to be a little critical, which is a sea change from the absolute steadfast iron support of the previous government. That positive impact is huge, potentially. It could vastly change the fortunes of working class people in this country. But you have to be there to drag them as far to the left as you can get them to go towards your position, because that's better than nothing. It's better than the previous situation we had. And ultimately, if they don't go far enough and we end up in the same situation where progressives become disillusioned by this Labour government, which seems likely given that I think they're not going as far as they should, and he's just a Blairite who eventually will be sucked in by the blob at Westminster and become another, essentially, Tory.
Yes, I said that as well. He was kind of progressive when he was mayor, but the minute you go down and you're back into that den of iniquity, essentially, it basically you get dragged to the right. And watch this. He will eventually not be as progressive as he was when he was mayor. And at the end of the day, Lord, I know, sword war. Please be careful, Dan. There's some things that I will not be allowed, that I won't be able to fix, unfortunately. I can't. He's a fucking hypocrite.
Then that disillusioned vote will come back to the Green Party, and they can actually overtake the Labour Party, because, once bitten, twice shy type deal. I think you have to essentially have it as a strategy in the first place to drag them to the left, and if they don't do so, to take over from them.
Yeah, I entirely agree with that. And I do think that Burnham wouldn't be where he was without Zach Polanski. I think that's just true.
100%.
Yeah.
Without a leftist, without a left to the left of the Labour Party threat to the Labour Party's vote, Keir Starmer would still be Prime Minister.
People
It
didn't
would
really
still
have
be,
anywhere to go, but
yeah, exactly, yeah. Because the one argument they had was, well, where else do you have to go? It's either us or Farage. Well, now it's not. Now there is a credible alternative. The Labour Party, for the first time in 50 years, have a genuine, credible threat to their left on a national level. They have had in terms of Wales and Scotland with the SNP and Plaid Cymru, but in terms of the national picture across the whole of the country, they have the Green Party there to genuinely hold their feet to the fire. So for the first time in 50 years, they're having to hold...
Not just the SNP, by the way, Scotch Greens, us, Scotch Green Party as well. But yeah, the SNP up here in Plaid in Wales, actually on the left. Well, the SNP are left-leaning. They're more left-leaning than Labour, and obviously more left-leaning than fucking Reform or bloody Tories or Restore. Like the Lib Dems are socially progressive, but they're still neoliberal in economics. But yeah,
they're having to actually talk to left-wing voters for the first time in generations. And we're seeing the net positive impact of that, and of course, a change of leadership on that basis.
there's been reports that the Greens are looking like they're going to overtake the Labour Party in terms of membership. But I actually would be interested to see what the Green Party's membership numbers are now, whether it's fallen. Because whether some people maybe gone back to the Labour Party because they feel, I can actually, maybe I can try and change things under Burnham. But
I don't necessarily think.
I don't think she will. She got disillusioned, Dan. She was friends with my sister. But yeah, I didn't see Kes coming back. Like, who I'd want to see back would be Mary. But yeah, Mary's not going to come back either. She said the House of Commons is toxic. She literally said that the place is toxic. Not good for your mental health. That's why quite a lot of them are fucking bastards. They've basically cocooned themselves, some people in the House of Commons.
That would have happened in huge numbers, and I'd be very surprised actually if the Green Party hadn't got close to, if not actually overtaking the Labour Party, because of course the Labour Party don't publish their numbers anymore. So disastrous was the drop off in membership.
Again, that's reports are saying they're approaching it. It's probably.
It's not as toxic, don't get me wrong. Some of the people in it probably make it a little bit toxic at the end of the day. You know, like a lot of the female contingent, especially in the Labour ranks up here, they said it's a boys' club. The SNP are a little bit better, and obviously you've got Reform and the Tories in there as well. So they would probably add to the toxicity, not maybe not as much as the House of Commons does, but yeah, it's politics. It's going to be. Ugh. Like, I would never be able to run for like either House of Commons or Holyrood. I'd break down into tears with some of the people in the place. Oh dear God, was Ian Gray one of your MSP? Oh, fuck's sake. Rejoice, comrades. Flo Snake. Hi, Flo Snake.
We already have. I mean, it's plausible to say that Labour could be under 200,000.
Yeah, genuinely, yeah, because they're so embarrassed by their pathetic showing that they don't.
I think they're a lot less than that, Curtis, my comrade. You've been cancelled by Automod. Oh! Hello. Yeah. Kinda. There you go. Oh, do we have a specs? Do we have a specs in chat? Rejoice. Welsh Tech God. Specs is awesome. I love me, my specs. And these specs.
Publish their numbers anymore, which should be illegal as far as I'm concerned. You should know the number. You don't have to know the exact people, of course. Privacy is a matter, but in terms of the overall number, those as a matter of law should be made public, I think.
They'll not do that. For that to actually get forced through, they'd need to do legislation on it, and none of the parties would want that, especially in the House of Commons. Fuck it. I'm sure the Tories still publish their numbers. How many Tory party members are there? 123,000 for the Tories. How many Reform Party members are there? 270,000. How many Liberal Democrat Party members? Approximately 60,000. Yeah. How many? Too many. Oh, right. Oh, yeah, he might have went to bed. He will be knackered. He'll be dad now. How many Scottish National Party members? I don't know. Oh, there's a fucking 56,000. So roughly about the same. That was published last June. Fucking hell. How many Labour Party members? Oh my god, it's well out. The last time they actually published their party membership number was February last year. So 18 months ago. And it was sitting at 309,000. Down from the high of over 500,000 when this individual was party leader.
Hello to our lovely national readers, listeners, viewers, for a very special edition of the National Podcast, because here with me today at our Glasgow office is Jeremy Corbyn. Hello, Jeremy.
For the second time.
For the second time. It's a repeat visit. It's our first repeat visit, in fact. Well done.
If you kindly invite me back for...
We're sitting at about 12,000, Dan, I believe. About 12,000, roughly.
The third time, will I get a prize?
Well, we have discussed, and we might have to get a jacket for you, but or a shacket, like the lovely shacket you're wearing just now.
Nice jacket. Next jacket.
Good stuff.
It's lovely to be here, so thank you for inviting me.
Of course, and it's great to have you here. And for those who don't know, but I'm pretty certain that everyone will, Jeremy is obviously former Labour leader, but current MP for Islington North and the current Your Party leader. And you're here in Glasgow or in Scotland for a very specific reason, a very important reason. It's to do with the Gaza Tribunal I don't suppose if you could share with our audience what you're doing here in Scotland.
By all means, I think that the plight of the Palestinians is the cause of our age. And we have all witnessed on television the genocide that's going on. I've been very involved in the Palestine cause all my life, and last year I introduced a private member's bill into Parliament to establish a public inquiry into Britain's involvement in arms supplies to Israel and therefore complicity in the war crimes in Gaza. And I did that having been to the International Court of Justice and been part of the Hague Group, and decided that we wanted to do more about it. So we discussed it in my office, and Ollie suggested we put forward a private member's bill calling for an inquiry, which we did. I got it past its first hurdle. It didn't get any further than that because it was blocked at the next stage. It was supported by an appropriate number of MPs of different parties, including Plaid, SNP, Green, Labour Left and Independent, and Brian Leishman was one of them that supported the bill. And the government...
Leishman's still in the Labour Party, by the way. But yeah, he supported this. He's a Scottish MP, by the way. He's up here. I can't remember exactly where. I think he might be over on the east somewhere, maybe in Fife, I believe.
Blocked it, and so we decided we'd set up our own tribunal through the Peace and Justice Project. So we had a 2-day hearing with 29 expert witnesses. It was a deeply moving occasion. I'm sitting there with Shahad Aruri and Niamh Gordon as academic assessors of it, one Palestinian, one Jewish person, and hearing the evidence of doctors, of Palestinian people and so on, non-stop, 8 hours at a session, was actually a very moving experience. And there was a lot of people followed it online. We then decided we'd not just publish the proceedings, we'd publish it as a book. So we produced this book called The Gaza Tribunal, Britain's Complicity in Genocide, with us doing it. And then Sally Rooney has very kindly decided and offered to write an afterword for it, which is a very brilliant piece of writing that she's done there. And so we're going around having books meetings, discussing this book. It's selling very well, and the proceeds of it go to defend our juries and to Palestinian charities. And it's about promoting a debate and discussion, specifically focusing on what we in the UK can do.
Yeah, he did sever the Butte House agreement, unfortunately, with us. He was quite a good First Minister. But other than that, yeah, shot himself in the foot, essentially, with it. I didn't like the way they treated the Scottish contingent of your party, because they wanted to run for Holyrood. But they didn't. The leadership down in England didn't want them to, unfortunately, which sucks. I feel for them. Like someone from the Glasgow branch, I will not name them, thought that was the best vehicle for them becoming an MSP. Essentially, they were guaranteed to getting on the list, but they left. They kept that quiet. So when fuck, I can see her. Yeah, talking about Ellie. Yeah.
Politically, to force our government to stop arms sales and military cooperation with Israel.
And I guess to make sure it doesn't fall off the agenda at all.
Yes. We shouldn't be selling them shit. We shouldn't be giving them diplomatic cover. In my opinion, they're giving them diplomatic cover. They're committing a genocide, and we're still selling stuff to them. Sorry, state of affairs, really. Literally, what they're doing is war crimes, including what's happening in Iran.
Because it just cannot.
We will make sure it does not fall off the agenda. It must never fall off the agenda. When people write the history of this part of the 21st century, just imagine you and I are doing this discussion in 100 years' time. You know, we're in the next century, saying, what were they all doing when that genocide was going on? Did anybody protest? 73,000 already dead in Gaza, and goodness knows how many more bodies under it. The statistics on Gaza are just terrifying. Just do the math. There's 2 million people in Gaza, roughly, and there's 63 million tons of rubble. 2 million tons. Look at the numbers.
Yeah,
Numbers.
I mean, it's
2 into 63 goes 31 times. 31 tons of rubble for each person.
It's staggering. It's staggering.
So I'm promoting this book, and I'm doing an event on it in Edinburgh tomorrow. And we had a big event at Foyles in London, and we were in Bristol 2 nights ago, which had a big event there as well. So we're going all over, and we're going to Dublin at the end of August and do one there.
No, indeed, important to be,
What are you saying, John? I've given up trying to get on with your party members because they're just so toxic, yeah. One of them, who I don't know that well, had a go at me because the Greens stand paper candidates, and he thinks that's why the independents in his ward lost to Labour. What? No. If they wanted to... No.
to be talking about it more and more. And speaking of Britain's complicity in genocide, obviously a lot of that will concern Keir Starmer's time as Prime Minister, but we obviously have a new Prime Minister now in Andy Burnham. I wanted to ask, and I'm wondering if you could say into the camera, just this camera just here, is what would be your direct message to Andy Burnham on the Gaza Tribunal?
Andy, you've got a copy of the book. It'll be there on your desk if you want to read it. And I'd be very happy, as I'm sure Shad and Niamh would, to discuss it with you. This shows that without a shadow of a doubt, Britain, our country, has been involved in occasioning this genocide against the Palestinian people. It's got to stop. You've got a big opportunity here to make history, being the first British Prime Minister to call time on Israel's occupation of Palestinian lands and its genocide against the Palestinian people.
Thank you, Jeremy, for that. And I think it's safe to say that there's been some criticism already of some of the decisions that Andy Burnham's made when it comes to Gaza. One of them was his decision to keep Ian Austin as Israel trade envoy when he was asked whether a genocide has occurred and is occurring in...
As an English snake, I find the National pretty useful and informative. Interested to know you're taking them as a Scot. You know more than I do. Yeah, he's still calm and still commanding. Yet, well, he's still got it. He's been a politician since 1983. I'm not allowed to bring that up to my sister. That's the year she was born. So what, he's been in Parliament my entire life? Yeah. Oh. Ian Austin is nasty. Just like some... quite a lot in the Labour Party now. They're all fucking like Shabana. God almighty, that woman is a fucking ghoul. And Burnham kept her, and that Glaswegian ghoul as well. He wants to put people like me into the wood chipper. Pat, can you hear me? You're a monster. I paid £20 for an entire year of the National, and they are really quite good. They are really good paper. They don't just cover independence, they cover lots of things that cover all basically everything that happens up here in Scotland, but with an independent slant, essentially. Yeah, they're really good. And £20 is an absolute fucking bargain. I say that when I go into their chat Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on the YouTube. So this was today. Oh God, John Mann can go and do one. He nicked Owen's fucking microphone. What a bastard. That's more than I give no justice. For all your Scottish news, you know where to find me. And obviously it'll be left, you'll get a left slant from me as well because Marxist. Douglas Alexander is a wanker. And a rabid fucking unionist to boot. He can... TOS. That's all I will say. But yeah, no, him and Annis are very chummy, as you can tell, because they're both rabid unionists. For ending the Israeli apartheid and ending the state of Israel in place, promoting a progressive, inclusive Palestine. Yes. A secular state, a secular one, like so. Pluralistic state is there for everyone essentially, but Israel won't allow that to happen, as you can tell, obviously.
Gaza, he refused to call it a genocide. You know, is that a start? What's your reaction to that?
To appoint Ian Austin to any position, in my view. I've had my dealings with Ian Austin, and he was somebody that was more interested in promoting the military power of Israel than anything else, as I understood what he said at the time. And I think whilst Andy has said something along the lines, we got it wrong, well, if Britain got it wrong about the ceasefire, then various things follow from that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they are good on international news as well, yeah. Maybe I should step up and covering international things as well, really. But majority Scottish news, obviously, in Scottish politics. Like who's going to become the new Scottish Labour leader. And I will say again, probably Michael Mara. I'd rather it be Monica Lennon, don't get me wrong. And yeah, the backlash is going to be mad because they unison backed her. But yeah, it's probably going to be Michael Mara. Ugh.
One of which is the military cooperation. And this isn't a simple semantic issue. If Britain knowingly supplied weapons after the ICJ had given its opinion on genocide, then that amounts to complicity of that genocide. They cannot claim ignorance of it. And despite many leading MPs of all parties, well, I'm talking Labour, Tory, Lib Dem, all saying that the use of the word genocide was not appropriate where Israel was concerned.
No, it's a genocide. Yeah, it's a genocide. I can say that though, because I'm not in either House of Commons or in Holyrood. or any sort of elected position, I can say it's a genocide. I do have that privilege to say that. Thank God. I know that there's more than just Palestinians there. Yeah. Like, there's lots of different types of Arabs. It used to be pluralistic back in the day. And one of the main reasons it got set up was so Arthur Balfour and the other anti-Semites over here in the UK wanted to create a loyal little Ulster in the Middle East. He literally said that. That's disgusting. No, I'm not an anti-Semite. But the current government in Israel are monsters, essentially. They want to create an ethno-state. And it is an apartheid state, by the way.
Well, sorry, this is what the ICJ has said. Are you going against all 13 judges of the ICJ on this? And so I think that the appointments he's made so far are not a good sign. And I'm still unclear as to what weapons licenses have been suspended in respect of Israel. I don't really know. Some were, but the majority is still going ahead. And Elbit Systems are still operating all over the UK, making weapons for Israel. And the F-35 components are made at quite a lot of places all over the UK. It's got to stop.
Meanwhile, of course, Andy Burnham has brought in John Healey as Chancellor. Obviously, a lot has been made in his first couple of weeks about the defence industry, about the need to ramp up arms production in the UK. I mean, what's your views on that? The sort of quite a big military Keynesianism type approach to perhaps the economy. What worries would you have that this means, cuts to public services as a result?
Well, I find it really almost weird being in Parliament.
Yeah. There's other Europeans that settled that basically settled there centuries ago, essentially. So yeah. I'm sure we all will be. I would assume. Like, I'll be in my late 60s at that point.
When Kemi Badenoch stands up and says, we've got to cut the burgeoning welfare bill in order to meet the defence needs of the country, and put very large amounts of money, not just into nuclear weapons, but to other weapons as well, which will, in their view, boost the economy. Well, that boost of the economy by investing in military planes or whatever is actually all public money. It's all taxpayers' money that's gone into that. It does not actually create very many jobs. Most of the jobs created actually are in the USA or elsewhere. But I also then asked myself the question, and I raised this with the Foreign Secretary, the previous Foreign Secretary, Yvette Cooper. The USA is increasing military expenditure. Europe is, Britain is, Russia is, China is, India is. Overseas aid has been cut by almost every country. There's growing antipathy towards refugees who are often victims of war. Where's the agenda for a peaceful future for the planet? Where's the investment in the UN? Where's the building of the peace process? And it seems to me something is completely missing. So, in not just Andy's getting a copy of this book, but Ed Miliband as well. And we're asking the three of us to meet him and go through it all with him, and explain what is actually happening here. So we think this book, we hope, it's not the one thing that's going to change anything. There's lots of factors, but we think it's an important part of that debate.
No, and one related topic I wanted to talk about, which is quite a big topic here in Scotland, particularly just because of, even to Glasgow, because of the proximity of Prestwick Airport, which is one of the airports that the US, we've done quite a few investigations at the National about this, about the US military using the airport as a transiting stop that then often find themselves off in the Middle East and facilitating bombing missions, not in Gaza, but in Iran. Burnham, again, has not made a change of position compared to his predecessor. He has instead said that, yes, of course, the US military can continue to use UK bases. The caveat is that it's defensive rather than offensive, is what they say. A lot of our readers, at least, are a little bit unconvinced by that because, cooperation in or facilitating is, in and of itself is, can be interpreted in different ways. But again, is that another
yeah, I think the
disappointment?
skepticism of your readers is correct. First of all, Prestwick has been used a lot by the US, not just recently, for over a very long period. I remember even the arguments about extraordinary rendition flights going through Prestwick, as well as refueling flights and so on. And then we now...
It was literally built so their largest planes could actually land here in the UK, by the way. That's one of the main reasons Prestwick exists. And it's owned by the Scottish Government. They have the controlling interest, essentially. So essentially it's a socialised airport. Kind of, a bit.
Have the transfer of weapons to Israel going through a number of places. And then we had the Trump-inspired war on Iran. And then he said he wanted to use British bases for defensive bombing of Iran. I mean, I raised this directly with Starmer, as did others. It seems to me slightly an odd argument. If we're here in this building now, we look out there at those lovely buildings across the road, and a bomb hits one of them, yeah? And so we'd be outraged. We'd probably be injured as well.
Yeah.
We'd be outraged. And so we say, no, it's okay. It was a defensive bomb. It was just an act of defense. What's the difference? If we're bombing Iran...
Yay! Well said, Omaha. That's getting pinned. Pin message. Boom. I totally agree, Omaha. Well said. Baseness gets pinned.
From British bases, we can't pretend we're not involved. We are involved. And so it does mean that...
We are involved. If they're flying out from UK bases, we're involved. Simple as. Saying that they didn't want to get involved. No, we're involved. If they're flying out from UK air bases, we're involved. We're helping them.
Burnham's response to Trump's first question was, will you authorize the flights? And he said, yes. That's a very bad start. To say to the US, you can do what you like with bases in this country. They're not US sovereign bases. They are British bases that the government has to give permission to use.
And just more widely about Burnham, I mean, you've been in Westminster, you kind of maybe, has there been a mood change? Is there anything that is encouraging so far about a Burnham premiership? Obviously, there's a lot of talk about his push for more devolution. There's been mixed feelings about that in Scotland in certain groups about what exactly that means. Obviously, a lot of chatter about Number 10 North. What are your views sort of a little bit more generally beyond foreign affairs?
Well, his first statement saying that he wanted to end rough sleeping homelessness, I absolutely welcomed. I, in fact,
Yeah. I never said. Go away. Fucking hell, mind me.
Wanted to do exactly the same thing. So I was pleased to hear that, to be quite honest. The problem is that it doesn't appear to have been thought through at all, because 3 days later, the Department of Communities, this was an English decision because Scotland and Wales have devolution on this matter, and they called in all the homeless charities to work out how to do it. I would have thought something so dramatic as that, you'd have had some kind of plan about how you're going to fund it, what buildings you're going to buy or requisition. And also there's a sort of, it isn't a simple differentiation between a rough sleeping homeless person and a sofa sleeping homeless person. They're often the same person at different nights of the week. And so it is a question of looking at the 300,000 people that do not have secure accommodation. Now, if he's serious about that, good, absolutely good. But that means investing in council house building. That means controlling rents in the private rented sector. That means raising the local housing allowance to a realistic level. Otherwise, we end up with more homelessness and more people forced into either sharing or just trying to get by. We have a housing crisis. It ain't going to be solved by the market.
And don't worry, this is my last Andy Burnham question, and we'll move on. But one of the first things, at least from a Scottish perspective, that was very Scotland specific that Andy Burnham said was that a second independence referendum is, quote, off limits. Now, obviously, he was mayor of Greater Manchester before. I don't know what statements he maybe made about independence when he was back in Westminster beforehand. But our impression is that he's never really spoken enormously about at least Scottish independence before. And obviously, this came in very quickly.
I've never heard him say anything.
No, it's obviously something that happened very early on, as he came into power. I just wanted your perspective, obviously, as a former Labour leader, is this sort of language, of ruling it out, language you have to adopt when you suddenly get thrust into that position?
I think it's a very big mistake. Yes, we thrust into a position, you get a lot of advice of things you should not do. Don't. And so I think you have to ignore some of that advice and just get on with it. But to say that he will absolutely rule out a referendum, well, is it really his gift to do that? He might say that legally and legislatively, Parliament, the UK Parliament, has to vote to hold a referendum. That's true. Maybe it shouldn't be true, but it is true. But if there is a big, realistic demand for a referendum, then surely the Democrat in him and the Democrat in me and the Democrat in you would say, well, have that choice, make that decision. And so I think he's wrong to do that. And certainly if legislation does come up in this Parliament, requiring a referendum be held, I will certainly vote for it, because I do think the people have a right to decide their own future.
No, and on that pressure though, when you were Labour leader, did you feel some pressure? Were you sort of told behind closed doors, this is a topic that you need to stick away from? Like the public line is no, and that's what we have to stick to.
I certainly was told that very often, to stay away from it all, by a lot of people who should have known better. But also, Labour didn't seem to have learned.
I like that. Move number 10 north. How far north? 3,000 kilometres. Yeah. There's an entire fucking country. Like, John's more north than number 10 north. He's in Bradford. That's more north. An entire fucking country exists as well. It's a gimmick. We'll see what comes out of it, essentially. See what happens.
From the 2014 referendum and the Better Together campaign. the Better Together campaign was seen as a clever wheeze between the parties. You know, we're better together. Well, if you're unemployed, homeless, and very poor, and living in Glasgow or Edinburgh, anywhere in Scotland, and you're told you're better off together, it's not always obvious that you are better off together. It's your social and economic needs that have got to be dealt with. And so the link up with the Tories in order to win the referendum, they might have thought it was very clever because it worked, but it was absolutely disastrous for Scottish Labour in the 2015 general election when they lost all but one seat. We gained a small number back in 2000.
One of each of the parties. So we had Alistair Carmichael, Orkney and Shetland for the Lib Dems, Ian Murray, Dan, disabled and in a home. Dan, what was Ian Murray's seat? And obviously, Douglas Alexander, the current Scottish Secretary, got booted out in that general election. We got Murray. Ha ha ha. And you had Alistair Jack in the border region down south of Glasgow on the west coast for the Tories. That's it, 3 of them. All the rest were SNP, including my seat.
And 17, and now there's a few more gained back. But I think it has been something that is catastrophic for Scottish Labour, and I'm not sure that Scottish Labour has yet faced up to the reality of that.
Well, I mean, we're right in the middle of a Scottish Labour leadership contest, of course, with Anna Sawa ruffled a couple of feathers, I think you could safely say, moving down to the Lords.
House of Lords, which was a bit surprising, but there you go.
Indeed, and now obviously a minister as well in the Burnham government. Yeah, a lot of people, even within Scottish Labour, were not entirely happy about that either. Suffice to say, but we've got 3 people who have put forward their names for the Scottish Labour leadership: North East MSP Michael Mara, Joe Fagan, who's a new MSP. He's was just elected in May, and he was the former South Lanarkshire Council leader, and also Glasgow MSP Monica Lennon as the sort of more left-wing candidate, although reporting currently is saying that she might struggle to get onto the ballot. I think at one point your former aide Casey Clark was also her name was sort of floated out there, but she's now.
No problem, Flow Snake. The demo would cover it. I might jump over and we can watch it. If demo's covered it, I might be able to give my thoughts on it. Everyone, Demo, Colonel Demo is fucking amazing. Go and follow Demo. He's awesome. He's in Connell, hence the Colonel.
Backed Monica Lennon. I'm just wondering about your thoughts. Have you been following the contest much at all? I mean, I don't know if you have any thoughts specifically on the difficulty of being left-wing in the Labour Party, especially, I mean, obviously you haven't been part of the Labour Party for a while now, but, you know, there was difficulties back then. I'd imagine those difficulties are compounded now.
It's much greater now than it was then, I'm sure. I mean, I know Monica, and I worked with her during my time as leader of the Labour Party. I got on fine with her. I liked her. I don't know if she's going to get on the ballot paper or not, and I would have thought, in all fairness, the Scottish Labour members should have a choice and be able to support her. We have a system in the Labour Party which is actually not really very open or very fair, because it has this very high benchmark to get across, both in UK Labour as well as in Scottish or Welsh Labour, to
Welsh Labour just got decimated. They got ruined. Most of the ones who most of the voters who were ostensibly Welsh Labour basically changed allegiance, and I think a lot of them went to Plaid, essentially. It was not a good election for them in the devolved administrations, essentially. Like I said, the lowest amount of MSPs they got, essentially. And that was under Michael Mara's written manifesto and Anas's leadership. But he's fucked off now to the other place to get in the cabinet. Like, so he's a junior minister, essentially, in business and trade. In fact, fuck it, who's business and trade secretary? Who is business and trade secretary? Jonathan Reynolds. The previous holder was Peter Kyle. God, that man was an idiot. Business, Innovation, Science and Trade. So this is the department that Anas is going into as business minister. So there we go. So he'll be one of Jonathan Reynolds' underlings, essentially. Yeah, it was inevitable, essentially. Go away. Fucking annoying me. Sorry, Jonathan Reynolds, you're very forgettable, apparently. I do apologise. We'll see how he does, I guess.
Become a candidate for the leadership of the party. And so the opening up of the Labour Party in the 1980s through democratic change always protected the position of the parliamentary caucus. And I think we should, well, I'm not in the Labour Party, but I think Labour should move away from that and have a much more genuinely open system. And I think what the Labour needs is effective voices that are going to challenge the economic orthodoxy, which will lead to cuts in welfare spending, which does lead to unemployment amongst young people and does lead to massive debts amongst particularly former university students.
I mean, would you like to see, say, out of those three, more Monica Lennon as the Scottish Labour leader?
Yeah, I don't have a vote in it, so I'm not sure my support for Monica Lennon would help her, but if she, I would.
Makes sense.
I'd be very happy with her.
There's one small detail that I thought was quite interesting that came out yesterday. I think it was ITV reported on it, that it costs £5,000 to enter the Scottish Labour leadership contest as a candidate, which is a bit wild.
What, you have to say
you have to pay £5,000. It's I believe it's only once you're on the ballot that you have to pay £5,000. I believe it's for they do sort of booklets and it's access to the membership and to affiliates and stuff like that.
The same happens with the leadership at a UK level as well. When I got on the ballot paper, I was very surprised. The first thing that happened wasn't a phone call of congratulations, it was a bill.
I mean, it seems kind of wild. I mean, I'm pretty...
Oh, I didn't know that, John. Thank you for educating me. Much appreciated. Unison backed her. At least that's something. But yeah, it doesn't look like she's going to get on the ballot, unfortunately. Brilliant. Yeah.
Certainly it doesn't happen.
This amount of money. It was like, so it felt like protection money.
Yeah. No, I mean, it just seemed a little bit incredible to me, particularly for the Labour Party. I mean, I'm pretty certain.
Christ, to run for the House of Commons, you only need to put down a £500 deposit, for fuck's sake. That £5,000, that's a lot. That's a fair chunk. I'm sure it won't be like, how many is there? There's 15 in Holyrood, essentially. But it looks like we'll see whether it's going to be either Mara or Fagan. Like I keep on saying, it's probably going to be Michael Mara, essentially. Like Jackie was second in charge with Michael Mara, a close second, essentially. So Anna's, then Jackie, then Michael Mara, who was like I said, wrote the manifesto essentially. He was in charge of the manifesto for the Holyrood election. So we will see. I think I'm probably going to be correct in Michael, in saying it'll probably be Michael Mara. But yeah, I would open up so the Scottish Labour Party members can have a say as well. Like the way we do it.
And the Scottish Tories don't give, and the SNP for that matter don't. There's no fee for it at all, and £5,000's quite a lot. I mean, I realise that
it's a lot of money, and it's a lot of money to raise. There's a lot of money you ought to be able to spend on information and campaigning. And surely the function of a political party is to facilitate its members, not to basically make money out of them.
That's mad.
No doubt. And I want to move on to your party. And I remember when it was sort of first announced here in Scotland, I went to one of the first meetings about 5 minutes away from here, and there was a huge uptake. I think it's safe to say that there was a lot of excitement in the room. There was a lot of momentum, but I think it's fair to say it's been at best rocky since then. There's obviously been a lot of, I was going to say, you could say a bit of a disaster since then. I just wanted to hear your thoughts on where your party is now after obviously a huge amount of damaging press, I'd say, fair to say, self-inflicted in many ways. Where are we now?
There's been huge problems within it. Yes, everybody knows that. I'm not hiding it. I'm not denying it. We have got now about 100 branches across the UK established, and we had 5 more established last night around the country. Each of those are done by the basis of writing to all the members in a particular area, asking them to come online or come physically to a meeting, and they elect local officials on it. And then the campaigning priorities, particularly around housing, homelessness and education issues, are ones that we're looking at developing. And in Scotland, we are setting up more branches, and I'm indeed going to the launch meeting of the branch tomorrow afternoon in Edinburgh. So yeah, it has been difficult. It is important that there is a non-sectarian left alternative in our politics, which will challenge the militarisation of our society, challenge austerity politics, and provide opportunity and hope for young people. It's been far more...
That's what the SNP and us Scottish Greens are doing.
difficult than even I anticipated. I always thought it was going to be difficult, but I do feel we turned the corner, we're on the way, and we worked with a lot of independent groups in the local elections, particularly in England, in May, and I worked very well with those groups in a number of London boroughs, in Redbridge, Tower Hamlets and Newham, and also in Blackburn and Kirklees, Bradford and other places. So we have a good setup in local government across the country. So the building blocks are there, but it's a long way to go.
But do you think there's space politically? I feel as though that there was a moment when there was that excitement there, and already, I mean, you can wax lyrical about polls, but there seemed to be a moment that was sort of ripe to be captured. And now we're in obviously politics can change, so I might say something very different.
Hang on, I just need to check something. Be right back. Ads in less than a minute, everyone on Twitch. So I'll keep this paused and wait for everyone to come back. There we go. You're getting to see behind the scenes until the ad's done. So this is my stream manager that you can see here. Oh, their teaser's live. Sweet. I'm liking this interview. It's going well. There we go. Going to politely disagree with Jez on this. We have some serious threats that includes him. But he's right, we don't need to blow loads of cash on tooling up. We can learn from Iran. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well said, Full Snake. Yeah, and in Ukraine, how to be effective on a budget. My God. Yeah, feel free to clip me, everyone. I could do with more clips. Ah, itchy ear. Itchy, itchy, itchy. Yeah. Okie dokie. Welcome back from Ad Hell. Shall we continue? Clip me. I don't have the... I keep on meaning to go in and make clips of myself after I've done my streaming. I really should. Going through my back catalogue might take me a while though. But yes, feel free to clip me. I should create a Katie clipped out of context channel, which would be fun.
6 months to a year, but you've got a moment now where the Green Party's looking stronger. Obviously, under Burnham, arguably can pinch a little bit more sort of votes on, you know, it's difficult to say at this point whether to the extent at which the Labour Party will move a little bit more to the left, but certainly it's seen as they might be. Is there space?
So that you don't get me wrong, there's parties to the left of Labour now. Obviously, there's always been parties to the left up here. Essentially, the SNP and Scottish Greens. Essentially, yeah. But now you've got your party, and obviously the Greens of Green Party of England and Wales, pressuring from the left. But I don't see us. It's going to be difficult to move the Labour Party to the left. We might be able to. Don't get me wrong. Anything is possible in politics at the end of the day. But I don't see it happening. Essentially, the cynic in me. Yeah.
For a successful Your Party on a national level?
The Labour Party is going to be facing massive contradictions. Burnham has made some pleasant sounding noises about social justice and so on, but
it's easier for Twitch comrades to clip me. It is a little bit different for my YouTube. Like, I keep on meaning to do clips of like Kevin Helena on YouTube, but it's if I want to clip anything, I usually just jump over to Kev's Twitch. But as of currently, we've only got Helena on the YouTubes. We should be able to I'll check out to see how you actually do it on other people's YouTube streams, so we can get clips and shit of me, and I will show everyone how to do it.
Reality is, they've hooked themselves into spending a huge amount more on defence, but at the same time cutting every single area of government spending, including the devolution settlement, will be affected by that. So come October, I think things are going to look very, very different. That's only a couple of months away. So I think we need to be thinking in terms of, is there going to be a serious left alternative across the country which doesn't buy into militarism, does not concede any.
The multipliers on defence spending they're not good. There's only so much we can do, essentially. The real multipliers come when you actually do council house building, major infrastructure, fixing roads, blah, 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 blah. Doing better economic policies at the end of the day, which I don't see Healy actually doing. But we will see. I'll be keeping an eye on you, Healy. And obviously I'm keeping a very close eye on Pat McFadden. And Miss Panopticon. Ugh. I was hoping he'd get rid of her. We all thought he was going to make her fucking Chancellor, remember? When he came in. But no, we all got stunned when he appointed fucking John Healy to number 11. Curious. But we will see once we get our first budget, which will So Jezza thinks October. I'm thinking November, because that's when the Timms review gets published, the day before the budget. But that was under Starmer. He still kept his job. He's still in Caxton House, as basically Pat McFadden's underling. He's the Minister for Social Security and Disability, Stephen Timms. I'm keeping my eye on you, Stephen. I keep on meaning to download the most pertinent parts of the Timms review once they get put onto the little section on gov.uk, essentially. Then we can talk about it on the stream, and I can decode it for everyone. See what's going to happen.
Any ground whatsoever to the racists of reform, which are active and effective all over the UK. We're in a very dangerous time where you have disenchanted, impoverished working class communities being told all their problems are caused by refugees coming into the UK. It's nonsense, and anyone that thinks about it knows it's nonsense. But it's that simplistic horror racist message that works in some places. I'm horrified at the troubles that have taken place in Thetford over the last 3 days. Thetford, smallish market town, it produced Tom Paine, who wrote The Rights of Man. And here they are, people trying to
Omaha.
enter and abuse.
I will read that out. Well, you could get all those new soldiers building roads like the Romans did. Nice to trickle back. Marching up and down a parade ground all day removes the workforce from working, and thus impedes growth. Well said, Omaha. Round of applause. I'm quite lucky with some of my chatters. You're all fantastic. Helping this lass. Thank you. Very much appreciated.
A very small number of people who are apparently asylum seekers into the UK. There has to be a left alternative, and too often this government and the previous government just conceded ground to reform all the time. You can't give in to these people. Look at their activities now in Scotland. Disrupting street events, racist overtones. They've got to be opposed.
So I was actually going to move on to that in a second, but I just wanted to stay on your party for a second. We'll move on to what we've seen here in Glasgow. Speaking of Thetford, there's been a lot, and we'll speak to that. And I've been at some of these protests, if you can call them protests. you've addressed obviously the difficulties, the very public difficulties. How are you going to rebuild trust? Because that will be fundamental, surely. I mean, you'll have your core group who are the sort of the believers, you know, who sort of are like, yes, it's been a bit of a car crash, but like, you know, values driven, like this is what we're here for. But what about the people who at this moment are like, how can we trust them again?
Practicality and intelligence of the campaigning we're going to be doing on issues of education, on social justice, on benefits, on housing, all those issues. We'll be campaigning on that and be part of what I hope will become a stronger movement to try and challenge the militarization of our society, because that is going to be the fundamental debate. 2 weeks ago, I was in Germany with the IG Metall union, very big union, Germany. Generally sort of the left, but its organizational strength is in the manufacturing sector, all of whom being offered big bribes by the German government to spend more and more on military. They are saying they want to live in a peaceful Europe and they don't want that investment.
That was partially why the welfare state was created. Yeah, the post-mortem census. Yes, that's right. Things like the NHS, welfare or social security, as it was called then. Yeah. Then she happened. You're on the M6. Rejoice, comrades. L. Ron Hubbard in chat. Hello, L. Ron.
In arms, they want investment in socially useful products. That's a movement that is taking off in a number of places across Europe. So I think if we're meeting in a year's time here, and I hope we are, then things could well be very, very different. And so we will build that base, build that activity in the community, and I think we'll grow from there.
It seems a bit of a silly question after this discussion, but there was a lot of speculation when, say, obviously Diane Abbott was recently rejoined the Labour Party. If you hadn't heard, obviously, and I think Joni Reid as well. And there was a lot of speculation about. I think I saw a lot of people saying things like, "Oh, you know, just make sure Jeremy Corbyn doesn't rejoin the Labour Party." Could you ever see yourself rejoining?
Yeah. Listen, they expelled me. And they also, before that, said that I wasn't fit to hold public office. That was Starmer's proposal. And they very thoughtfully added an addendum to the letter of expulsion saying if I was in trouble, I could phone Samaritans. All heart. So no, I'm...
What the actual fuck? That fucking bunch of bastards. I can't believe they've done that to you, Jezza. Fucking hell. Putting that in as expulsion letter, that's disgusting. Bloody hell.
Was elected for my area. I'm very proud to be the MP for Islington North, and I do my very best to represent the people of Islington North and to be part of a campaign for an alternative social justice platform in this country. So no, I'm going to be doing that.
That Samaritans aspect really sort of struck me. That's quite shocking, isn't it?
It's dark, isn't it? Yeah. They didn't bother to put in the letter anywhere, by the way. German government to spend more and more on military. They are saying they want to live in a peaceful Europe and they don't want that investment in arms. They want investment in socially useful products. That's a movement that is taking off in a number of places across Europe. So I think if we're meeting in a year's time here, and I hope we are, then things could well
Correct, Omaha.
be very, very different. And so we will build that base, build that activity in the community, and I think we'll grow from there.
Well, it seems a bit of a silly question after this this discussion, but there was a lot of speculation when, say, obviously Diane Abbott was recently rejoined the Labour Party. If you hadn't heard, obviously, and I think Joni Reid as well. And there was a lot of speculation about. I think I saw a lot of people saying things like, "Oh, you know, just make sure Jeremy Corbyn doesn't rejoin the Labour Party." Could you ever see yourself rejoining?
Yeah. Listen, they expelled me. And they also, before that, said that I wasn't fit to hold public office. That was Starmer's proposal. And they very thoughtfully added an addendum to the letter of expulsion saying if I was in trouble, I could phone Samaritans.
Did everyone catch that? Ian McKenna, hello. Can I just point out that several non-US NATO nations are basically on a war footing in Greenland, not to fight Russia or China, but to deter US aggression. That's partly why I said what I said earlier. Oh, thank you, Full Snake. That is disgusting.
All heart. So no, was elected for my area. I'm very proud to be the MP for Islington North, and I do my very best to represent the people of Islington North and to be part of a campaign for an alternative social justice platform in this country. So no, I mean, I'll be doing that.
That Samaritans aspect really sort of struck me. It's dark, that's quite shocking, isn't it?
It's dark, isn't it? They didn't bother to put in the letter anywhere, by the way, thanks for your 50 years of membership. They missed that bit out. It must have been AI written.
Well, there we go.
So let's blame AI, shall we? It wouldn't be.
That's quite funny. Yeah, disregarding the 50 years that he was in the Labour Party. That's delightful. Thanks, Labour. You fucking suck. I wouldn't be surprised if they gave him the phone number. That is dark. That is very dark. What were you thinking, Labour? Yeah. They've treated you despicably, Jeremy. Yeah. I knew that you would. When Burnham got a kid, this cropped up saying, "Will you go back in the Labour Party?" No, he won't. They booted him, saying that he shouldn't hold public office. Disgusting. Not up to you. It's up to the people of Islington North, and they've returned him, obviously.
That's heartless, would they?
That's very 2026. Moving on to what we were talking about before, you mentioned Thetford, but in Glasgow we've seen a number of protests. We've seen a number of groups, whether they're groups or individuals.
Oh, yeah, I'm not surprised by that, Flow Snake. Yeah, that's what voting's for. Thank you, Ian. You don't need to be a part of a party. You can run as an independent and get voted into the House of Commons in Westminster. Don't get me wrong, it's having the backing of a party, especially on the size of Labour. But yeah, you didn't need to be in a party to run for public office. You don't. I think that's what Labour forget when they expelled all us leftists, essentially. The sensibles are back, the adults are in the room. You what? Fuck off. There's the door. Yeah, basically saying you can fuck off now, shaking off the fleas. Yeah, and a lot of us joined like either the Scottish Greens up here or the SNP essentially, or like the Greens or your party down in England. Yeah. That's why I don't see them moving moving to the left. At the most, they're a centrist party now. But with like Pat McFadden, Shabana Mahmood, West Streeting, they're not leftists. Definitely not Mahmood. She's more like a fucking Tory than anything. Yeah, exactly.
Is very much a question. They certainly market themselves as a group, whether it's just one or two people. It's difficult to say to a certain extent. We saw a very big, well, I say very big, it was a much larger counter protest, as these things tend to be. It has to be said, but there was a sizable-ish protest on Glasgow Green. We saw some violence. We saw some racist attacks. There was a traffic cone that was launched at a delivery driver and various racist taunts. I spoke to him, actually. He was very shaken by it. I spoke to him maybe 5 days after it happened. He said he hadn't left the house. We've seen, a couple of weeks ago, it was almost daily, there were these sort of street patrol type things where they'd turn up outside of housing associations. I went to one where they were just filming inside. And under the guise of, a fairly, a valid question over housing and, the lack of social housing. Often it's to a certain extent, it's the attempt is to root it into something that is very much an issue. But we've then seen a lot of more than questionable behaviour at these.
What's that D word you've used there? We live in a constitutional monarchy. Don't get me wrong, they all say they're Democrats. Small d, not big D. Not like the party in the States. But yeah, it's a constitutional monarchy. The head of state is also the head of a church. Yeah.
Protests as well. How do you think we tackle it? Because it just seems as though it's just getting worse.
It does seem to be getting worse. The valid questions about housing, about hospital waiting lists, about school class sizes in some parts, and all those are perfectly valid questions. None of those problems are created by people that migrated to our society.
A couple of my peaceful Buddhist Sri Lankan carers don't particularly like the Home Office monster. I am completely with them, Omaha. Like I said, she is more like a Tory than anything. And for fuck's sake, Labour, stop chasing reform. Just don't. It's not what the vast majority of the country, I'm talking UK white here, want. Historically, we don't really like far-right movements. Like, especially up here, we're more left-leaning up here in Scotland, essentially. Excuse me.
Society. And indeed, if there hadn't been the levels of immigration there have been since the end of the Second World War, I'm not quite sure what kind of health service we'd actually have. I'm not quite sure how any care home would operate. I'm not quite sure how the railways would operate. I think everybody...
Look, we can't be racist. It's the brown women doing this. See, look, brown women in Home Office. Doesn't work like that. We follow you on your policies, not who's saying them. Thanks.
Who thinks about it, knows these things. And yet there is a ability of some of the media to whip this up. And if you read the sort of instant comments in the Mail and the Express and the Telegraph, and if you watch GB News religiously, you'll soon pick up somehow or other that everything that's wrong is caused by refugees and so on coming into the country, which is simply not true. And also it shows a complete lack of humanity about the individuals concerned and what they themselves may well have been through. And
Yeah.
I would just say to those people that are demonstrating, those people that you think
It's not because of refugees or other immigrants coming into the country that's doing this. It's poor economic policy and basically like that, and not having a wealth tax essentially to actually fund the country correctly in my eyes. That's why I'm in the Scottish Greens. Praise be Ross. He be awesome. Mm-hmm. And Gillian as well. Gillian's great.
your enemies are refugees, you know what? Maybe your children will be treated by them when they've qualified to become doctors in the National Health Service. Just think about it. Humanity has got to be the answer on this one. And yes, we can defeat the far right. We do it by a combination of opposing racism in any form, and I'll be at an event remembering Stand Up to Racism, but also the need, Rock Against Racism, but also the need to rejuvenate and strengthen it. But it's also about addressing the issues facing every community across the country. We have a generation now leaving school, college, university, who 30 years ago would have expected a job and would have expected to get somewhere to live. Now they don't. Mm-hmm. They don't expect a job, and they don't expect to be able to get somewhere to live. So they either have to move back with their parents if that's where they were living before, or move into shared accommodation for years and years. And so there's a massive housing crisis across the country, and it's not going to be solved by free market economics and free market private renting. It's only going to be solved by a serious attempt at rent controls across the whole of the UK, not just in Scotland, the whole of the UK.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that's an important point. And I'm actually going to be moving to football, believe it or not. I know you're a big Arsenal fan. Belated congratulations, obviously. I'd imagine that was a good couple of days and weeks after winning the title finally. After an absence, after a lengthy absence.
That celebration was something else. I mean, my borough is not that big, and we had well over 1 million people came for the celebration on the day after we'd lost the Champions League final. But kind of because I forgot that, and I was celebrating the Premier League. But what was great was the crowd was totally diverse. You'd got some people who were coming out of the pubs who'd had a good amount of drink.
Yeah.
The pubs were open for a long time, and there's a good amount of drink. At the same time, people coming out of the cafes, non-drinking Muslim people coming out, equally celebrating. So it was an amazing coming together.
Yeah, Christ. Yeah, no, if you, I don't know how to fix the economy. Helena's better at that aspect than I am. But yeah, council house, so just build millions of council homes. Like council homes are getting built here in Glasgow. Plus we've got rent control up here as well now. Thank you, Maggie Chapman, for doing that. Praise be Maggie, she be awesome. So we've got rent control up here now. Haha, victory. That's actually quite decent. I approve. And we're dealing with Airbnb as well. It's a season ticket next to Keith's. I thought Keith was in boxes. You've also got like Piers Morgan's is an Arsenal fan as well, and obviously Kid Starver. But yeah, Jeremy as well. Not Ash. She's a Spurs fan.
Of the entire community, and people still talk about it. Said, wasn't it great the day we all came together? Yeah. They say that to me on the street. It was fantastic. And so, yeah, it was. It shows the power of football. Now, obviously, most of those people are never going to go to an Arsenal match. They probably couldn't afford it anyway. And have never been to an Arsenal match. But as far as they were concerned, it was just a moment of joy. The moment we won the league, I went straight down to the stadium. I live quite near.
Yeah.
And it took us about 5 to 10 minutes to walk there. By the time we got there, you have to go under a railway bridge to get there. We couldn't even get under the bridge because it was so crowded.
Rammed, yeah.
Absolutely rammed. And I was at the same time, everybody's hugging and embracing each other. I'm being embraced by young covered Muslim women with Arsenal shirts on and older white guys coming out of the pub hugging just the same. Saying, yeah, Jez, it's great. We won it. Yeah, we done it. Fantastic feeling. I love it.
No, of course, and
Isn't that that's the good side of football?
of course, yeah. I mean, unbridled joy in any form, and it brings out a lot of good. That's for sure. Do you have a favourite Scottish team at all, or someone a team you got a little bit of?
No, I generally would support Celtic, but I've also got a sneaking admiration of the Partick Thistle.
Fair play.
My great friend, the late Ian McKinnon, was very active in Scottish CND and Scottish Peace Movement. He was a very good friend of mine, doctor. He sadly died of cancer in 2015. And he was very supportive to me and a very good friend. And I always used to stay at his house whenever I was in Glasgow.
Oh, we had a key. We had key as well, but now it's basically a card. He pays it off our universal credit essentially, but it's card for the electric and card for the gas, and the smart meter's just out there in the hallway. But yeah, I know about those key meters. You have to rent those. We don't have standing charges with the company that we're with, me and Super Hubby. So they've got rid of standing charges for us. That we're with Utilita, by the way. I didn't know Bojo was an Arsenal fan. I don't know.
And we'd always talk about he would go on and on about the community base of Partick Thistle. So ever since then, I'm with.
They do a cracking pie at the Partick
Apparently
Thistle.
they do, but
And they've got a great mascot. I don't know if you've seen the mascot, but
Yeah, they have.
Kingsley's is a character for sure. I remember going to a match and Kingsley came.
There we go. Kingsley. Oh, look! Celtic behind him. So that must be in Firhill. Don't ask me what Kingsley is. I have no earthly idea. So, I'll show you ours. Celtic mascot. Images. Yay! Hoopy, the huddle hound. Hi, Hoopy. I love Hoopy. He's great. The person inside that must be sweating their fucking tits off. But yeah, that's Hoopy. Praise be Hoopy.
On and there's just screaming children because it's quite frightful.
So
Rangers one is Broxy Bear. Anyone wants to know it? Fuck it, I'll show you Broxy. Broxy Bear. Images. Ta-da! Broxy. Yeah, there's nowhere that the Lecky Key is the thing of the past. It's basically just a card now. There he's there, Broxy Bear.
Frightful mascot. So
good. Go Partick. Good luck.
Fair play. Going to staying on football for a second, and FIFA and Gianni
Mr.
Infantino, Mr.
Yeah.
Infantino. I mean, obviously, for those who don't realise, under an enormous amount of backlash, not only after the World Cup, and there's obviously quite a few.
Faith restored in UEFA for basically saying no. Yeah, it's basically a play on Ibrox, Broxy Bear. Yeah. So, for those of you who do not know, Ibrox is where Rangers play. We play in, it's basically called Celtic Park, but we colloquially known as Paradise. But it's Celtic Park, or Parkhead if you wish. They're in the east end of the city, they're down there, down in that direction. And Ibrox is the other side of the river. And Partick Thistle, they used to be in Partick. They're not now. They're just off Maryhill Road. I pass it on the M3 going into the city centre. I've never been in. So it's Firhill that Partick Thistle play at. I've never been to a match in Firhill, which is rather odd. I've been to all the others, most of the other stadiums. Like my home team's called St Johnstone, and their stadium's called McDermott. I quite like McDermott. I remember it getting built. They used to play at Muirton Park, which is now in Asda. And my uncle, who is dearly departed, he was a Saints fan, and my younger cousin is a Saints fan as well.
Few different controversial elements, notably over his relationship with Donald Trump, their fierce friends. But there's also been this intense backlash over this leaked £20 billion proposal to open up the World Cup to private equity investment. Going back to what you're saying.
Every so often, Jezza sounds a bit Northern English, which he just did. Anyone know if he has any connections? That's a good question. I've no idea, Flow Snake. No idea.
Football's for the people. I mean,
is it for the people? Yeah, I mean, I love football. I love the game. I love the image, and there at matches and things, fantastic. But you've got to be realistic about it. It's actually a very big business, and I support Arsenal. I don't agree with a lot of stuff Arsenal do, and they're a very big business. They're a very big club. But the World Cup is something slightly different because it's not a club in the way that Rangers are, Celtic are, Hibs are, or whatever. They are. It's a conglomeration of all the world's football associations. And so it really isn't up to Infantino to be selling shares in it. His argument is that by raising all this money, they'll be able to put more money into developing football around the world, which is what Arsene Wenger is supposed to be leading on within FIFA. I don't see how that has to be linked to selling shares to equity companies, some of which are part of the Donald Trump family, and actually privatizing the World Cup. And so I think the opposition to his plans is correct and just. It'll probably play out that he ends up resigning, I would have thought, because, well, there's the sale. There's also that rather strange creation of the FIFA Peace Prize, which was
very odd.
Yeah, I've covered this, what Infantino is trying to do, essentially. I don't like it one bit. I love the beautiful game. I'm a big football fan. I love the sport itself. Like, don't get me wrong, I support Celtic. And to a certain extent, I keep an eye on my home team of St Johnstone up in Perth. But yeah, Infantino needs to go. Hopefully with enough pressure, he'll piss off and we'll get someone better in charge of FIFA. Like, FIFA's corrupt as all fuck. We know this. And under Infantino, it's just got worse. The FIFA Peace Prize, give me a break. Christ almighty.
Yeah.
Donald Trump. And I mean, if I was asked to award a peace prize, he wouldn't be
top of the list.
He wouldn't be in my top 100 to get the award, or possibly top 1,000 to get the award. It was embarrassingly absurd to do that. And then the way they intervened over a referee's decision of Belonga, the American player, that was weird. I mean, the idea that Donald Trump would phone the president of FIFA and then
Thank you for listening.
the red card gets withdrawn and he's allowed to play. Well, that doesn't happen anywhere else in any other game. That is just out of order. And his direct interference in a referee's decision of one match afterwards is not acceptable.
No, indeed. And I wanted to talk about the Fringe. You're obviously here for a Fringe event. It's a very serious talk, of course, about the Gaza Tribunal. I know that you're a busy man and you'll be off elsewhere thereafter. But have you?
I love the Fringe.
You love the Fringe. Are you planning to stay a little bit? Maybe see something. Have you got any special? Have you got any particular memories of?
If I get time, what I do is randomly pick something that looks really not very well explained in the program. Let's go to that.
Why not?
And I love the ones which are usually a sort of an amalgamation of bits of Shakespeare and trying to reduce them. So I remember the first Fringe thing I ever went to was the whole of Shakespeare in 30 minutes.
This
It was actually quite funny. It was very witty and very, very clever the way it was done.
Yeah. No, like I rescued my friend. She's the Glaswegian. She was born and brought up here. She'd done her nursing degree here, but she married an American and they moved over. Like, they're over here now. I've rescued them. And when he was doing his degree here at Glasgow Uni, his flatmate basically took him to a rugby match and invited him to play, and he was stunned. He likes American football, as you can expect. He's from New York, by the way, but they lived in New Jersey, and he was like stunned. What the actual fuck? Yeah, they always get stunned. Where's your padding? Where's your helmets and stuff like that? What? Excuse me? Yeah. Rugby. Yeah, it's always funny watching Americans react to rugby, especially rugby union. League's a lot faster. For more on rugby league, check out Yorkshire's got quite a lot of good rugby league teams, if I remember correctly. We're more union up here, rugby union in Scotland. Don't get me wrong, there's rugby league gets played up here as well. But the vast majority of rugby fans in Scotland are rugby union fans.
So I love that sort of immediacy and energy of it. But the Edinburgh Festival is fantastic, but it is awful expensive.
Yes.
And it's in danger of damaging itself by the cost of being in Edinburgh.
Plenty of scary women up here, Omaha. I'm not sure if I'm scary. I try to be nice. And obviously try to educate people.
By the impossible high hotel prices. And so they've got to do something about that.
Oh yeah, it's the Edinburgh Fringe. So the hotel prices for the Fringe over in the capital, the hotel prices are fucking crazy. But they're guaranteed to sell because hundreds of thousands of people come to the Fringe each year, oddly enough. Plus the tattoo as well. I don't know how the tattoo itself is really well priced, but the hotels, like I said, are fucking crazy prices because capital, obviously.
Bradford is a very big festival, has a huge number of events on, but doesn't have the same sort of cost barriers surrounding it. Edinburgh just needs to think it through a bit more. But it's a wonderful festival. Let's not lose it. Let's build it and grow it.
No
Good, what
doubt.
an occasion.
Speaking of Shakespeare, I've gone to a drunken Shakespeare, perhaps a drunken Shakespeare this time. I don't know if you've heard of the theory behind it or what happens there. It's just one cast member that gets quite drunk beforehand, and then it's obviously quite obvious as they go through a very serious play, and that's the comedic sort of turn. Is a very classically trained Shakespearean actor.
Who's drunk?
Who's very drunk, but trying to do their best.
Well, that's always funny. But festivals, music, theatre, poetry do so much to enrich all our lives. And that is really what it's got to be about, improving access. And that means giving young people the chance to make their music, play their music, test their music.
What we still doing, Art?
Let young people write poetry and let's hear that poetry. And so I'm doing a poetry evening tomorrow evening as well in Edinburgh. We're just discussing poetry, and if there's people in the audience who've got their own poems, I'll say, come on, let's hear them.
Oh.
Well, I'm sure that'll be a lovely evening. And we actually talked quite a lot about this before the cameras started rolling. But the last time you were here in the studio, we talked about how prolific a reviewer you are on Letterboxd. And so I thought I'd ask, what are your sort of cultural picks or recommendations for film and TV this time around? You just watched Casino Royale, I heard, which you enjoyed.
I don't go to the cinema very much. I know I should, and people are on my case to go and see Odyssey, so I guess I probably will. But last night I was home and I sort of got I don't want to do anything else. I'd been to the gym. I had a very late supper, so I shouldn't really have eaten so late. So I just turned on the television, and ITV3 late at night has murders on it, and you know, sometimes they're quite interesting, sometimes they're not. But it's got a Casino Royale, and so it's
a good film.
So I watched it, a great film, and I just thought, you know, James Bond, what a guy! Break off from a card game, suffer a heart attack because his drinks have been spiked, crawls to his Aston Martin, gets the recovery kit out, is told back in London how to work it, gets changed, new suit, bow tie, the lot, from a man who was about to die from a heart attack, and then wins 4 million quid at cards. What a boy.
What a boy. What a boy. Well, thank you so much, Jeremy, for joining us, though. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you again. We'll have the jacket ready for your third.
Be what, a sort of Scottish blue jacket?
Yeah, maybe a tartan one. Maybe a tartan one.
A tartan one.
Yeah,
Thank you
that
for
would be
making
nice.
it.
One piece of tartan I really love. I was given by a group of people who had been looked after children, and they got a club together of them in their 20s and 30s to keep them together as support. They had a tartan made, and they gave me a tartan scarf. It was beautiful.
That's beautiful.
So it was a nice thing to have.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, we can see if we can get it in that tartan, perhaps.
Thank you.
But no, thank you so much, Jeremy, and it's always a pleasure. And thank you, of course, to our viewers and listeners. I hope you enjoyed this discussion. I certainly did. And we will have all of this coverage, obviously, in full on our YouTube channel, on audio listening platforms, which you might be listening to right now. And, of course, we'll be covering it in a written format on the National Adult Scott book. There's the book as well.
It's available in, I assume, all good bookshops.
There we go.
And it's certainly available online as well.
No, and yeah, thank you again, Jeremy. And yeah, I hope you enjoy your visit in Scotland.
Always.
Right. I'm actually feeling quite tired now, and the pain levels are creeping up in my foot and my knee again. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Always a pleasure. But yes, I will love you and leave you. I do apologise, YouTube comrades. Go where you wish. But on Twitch, my lovely comrades, let's see. Let's go to Raptor, shall we? Or do we want art? Do we want to go over and see Xerxes? Yeah, sod it. Well, hang on. We'll see who's live. Red channel. Yeah, basically I've been going for my standard 2.5 hours. Christina, David, Dadfather, Peace for now. Raptor, the Burb, the Doodles. Oh, CJ's going. Q's going. Scholarly Frog. Mimic Cheese. Rathbone. Some random geek. Kaya's going. Of plants and pigments with their trees. It's funny. Parcourse. Taff. Jovan. Yes, let's go and say hello. CJ. Yes, let's go and say hi to Raptor, shall we? Let's just bring him up. Raptor Blue. Raptor.
Fuck.
Stay hydrated. Self-care is good care. Take your meds if you need to take any. Stay based. Free Palestine. And come back tomorrow for more from your mad Scottish lass.
This is not me. At least I'm not the one getting my shit pushed in.
If you can convince the lowest white man that he is higher than the highest black man, he won't notice when you steal from his pocket.
And
He
it's
will open
not
his wallet
hard.
and let you take from him.
Yep, it's not hard to convince black or a white men of that. You gotta just convince them that they're better than a black dude. Which is why we're seeing so much shit on the one of the most used platforms now, Twitter.
That's why all them niggas were happy when SNAP benefits got cut. Even though
first they came for the blacks,
people,
and I acted, but as part of the mob that came for them.
Are white because the perception is